chain parameters for cross-section plotting. In this video I'm going to show you how you can plot your road cross-sections using just the one plot parameter file for multiple cross-section models on different roads. So we'll start off with what I've got here on the left hand side. I've got the three roads here, roads CO1, CO2 and CO3, and on the right hand side here I've profiled a cross section for road CO1 here, and that's at Cheney's 300 there, so that's a cross section for that road there, and that's what we're going to start with. We're going to start with plotting the cross sections for this road here. So the first step I'm going to do is plot some cross sections for this road CO1. So having profiled one of the cross sections that I wanted to plot, so I want to plot model CO1. So I'll come into the section view here, go into plot and go into XPlot. So that'll bring up an empty plot parameter file. Now I've already got one filled out for this road here, CO1. I'm going to select that one and go read. But if you haven't, I do have another YouTube video on the 12D Trainer website called cross-section plotting, and it goes in a bit more detail of how you can read one out of the 12D library if you don't have your own, just the steps to create that. So have a look at that if you need to do that. So having selected the file, I've hit read, and it's read that file, and it's populated all the boxes here. So it's read the model here, which is the cross-section CO1 road. That's the cross-section model I wish to plot, and I'm going to plot it to a model, and it's going to be, the model is going to be called that plot model CO1 here. So I can just go to plot, and that'll go away and create some cross sections for me. And looks like it's done. 26 sections on 5 pages. So I'm just going to bring up my plot view here and just add to that view the XS CO1, and there's my 5 sheets of cross sections plotted, and they're all plotted in one model. Yeah, so that's all worked fine, and that's how you can just plot a cross section just by using this panel here. So the next step I'm going to show you now is how we can plot these cross sections through a chain, and if you're not too familiar with that, you can go to our EXDS website on the YouTube channel, and I have created a video there for plotting through a chain for cross sections and long sections, so you can have a look at that to familiarize yourself. So I've already got a chain in this job here, so to access the chain we can go to utilities, chains, and edit the chain and plot cross section there. And just also to let you know, if you've got your recalc panel, you can quickly bring up your edit chain through here as well. You can click on that one there to edit your chain. So this is a simple chain I've got, which I just created, and that's a plot command here where we can plot through a chain, and that's just plotting the cross sections, and that's the PPF file there that we had for the CO1, essentially what we just had open there. So that's that one there. So we can execute that through a chain. So if we hit execute here, that'll execute any line that we highlighted. So you'll see those cross sections will get deleted and then recreated each time we want to do a new plot when our designs change. So that's all worked fine, and yeah, you can have multiple green dots essentially for all your different roads. So what I'm going to show you next is how we can, instead of having, generally what you will have, the workflow would be if you had road CO1, CO2, CO3. For instance, in this example here, we've got 3 roads. We would generally need 3 plot parameter files for all the 3 separate roads. So we can just substitute the first one, for the CO1 for the first one, and then CO2 and CO3, and that's how you would generally do that. But by using a chain parameter, what you can have one generic cross-section PPF file, plot parameter file, and you can use that over and over again for the different roads. And I'll just show you how we can do that, and you can substitute the model names in this tab here. So just run through how you can do that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a plot parameter file, which is just a copy of this one. So I'm just going to open that one, use that as the base, and I'm just going to change the name here. So I'm going to take the CO1 name out, and I'm just going to have this as a generic cross-section plotting, and just go right. So that'll save that away, and now I've got that one there, but this is the one I'm going to use for the parameters. So at the moment it's got road CO1 in there for the model, and the model name for plots will be CO1, and you'll see how I can substitute CO2 and CO3 in there. So let's just close that one. So let's do a bit of work on our chain file now. So I'm just going to copy those two lines here and just paste. And then this one I'm just going to, using the parameters, I'm going to plot CO2 in here, and I'm just going to put here using parameters, just so we can, just for this exercise here, so we've got that there. And now for the plot parameter file, I don't want to use the CO1, I want to use this generic one that I created here. And yeah, if you copy your commands down, it obviously copies the name from the previous one, but you can just hit the ABC button here and it will reproduce the text here. But I don't want that many words there, I just want plot cross sections, and I'm going to put for road CO2 in here, which capital C here. Yep, just like that. And that way at least I know that this command here will plot the cross sections for CO2, because yeah, I guess because it's using the generic one here, there's no CO2 in this list here, so it's purely just so I know. So I'm just going to write that and save that one off. So the next step now is to create the parameter value file just up in this area here for the parameters that we're going to use for the cross sections. So I generally copy that same name. So I normally have the chain name the same as the parameter value file name, so they go together. So which means the parameters we're going to fill out in this area are going to feed into that chain, so it's just nice and tidy. Hit on the envelope and go open, and it's red because it doesn't exist yet, so we'll just go right. And now it's fine, and there's the cross section one. You can see I've got some long section ones that I've done previously. So now we just want to create some parameters. So what I'll do, I'll bring up the plot parameter file just over this side, just to try to help explain what's happening here. So essentially I just need to, so that's going to be a parameter, the model name that I wish to plot. So that's going to be one parameter that I'm going to pass from the parameter value file, and the second parameter is going to be the model name. So they're the two variables that are changing: the model that I wish to plot and what model I'm going to plot it onto. So we'll come over here and let's go to insert. So this is similar to the chain format, where we can just click on that button to insert, and the different types of parameters available. If you hit on the arrow there, so they're all the different parameters that you have available to you. So the first one is the model. So we want to put the model of cross sections to plot. So we're going to select the model parameter. Now the name, that's the name of the parameter, and I'm just going to put here cross section CO2. That's just the name that we're going to use when we select that parameter, and you'll see how we can do that. So I'm just going to call that the cross section model CO2, and the value. So the value is the model. Now we're going to select the model, and the model for the cross sections for CO2 is the cross section CO2, which is already in our project. So just to show you here, that's the cross sections here. So if I profile one of those cross sections there, so that's the cross section CO2 model which I wish to plot. So that's what I've selected there. So let's bring that back. Yeah, so that's one parameter done. So let's just write that and replace that file. So now the next parameter I wish to put in is the model name here. So come across here to the parameter value file and we insert a second one. Yep, so text is the default one, and that's what we want to do here. We want to put some text. So I'm just going to copy that here and paste that in the value box. And I'm going to put that one to be CO2. And this is the name of the parameter. So I'm just going to put this to be model name, and it's for road CO2, just so I know when I select it. Yep, so I've got cross section model here that I've selected, which is the cross sections I'm going to plot, and then that's the model that it's going to plot onto, which is this guy. And that's essentially it. Let's just write that and just replace that and finish, and let's just close that. We don't need that anymore. So now we need to enter those parameters into this command here. So where we do that, if you hit the plus button, you've got a little drop down called parameters, and this is where all the action happens. So what we do, we come over here, we go pick parameter, and what will happen, you'll get a little box coming up here, to pick your parameter, and it fires up a default sort of cross-section PPF file here where you can select where you want those parameters to go. So we'll come across here, we'll just go pick, and now if you move your mouse over the PPF file here, you can see if you're over whatever box you're in there, it's highlighted, so it's saying where do you want the parameter to go into what box. So this is the first one we're going to pick, and that's the model for the cross sections to plot. So I'll click in there, and that's the name of that box there. And now if we come over here to the parameter, we'll do a right mouse click, and that's the cross section CO2 there. So we're essentially told that from the parameter file. So that's the first one we've entered. And the second one we want to enter, so we just go to pick again, and that second one is the stem, the plot stem model name here. So if we click on that guy, saying the plot stem, and that's some text, and that was the model name which we're going to put into there. So just go select. That's essentially it. So we've done that, we just set and finish. And just here I'm just going to say use the original value and use the original value. And now you can see it's populated the two parameters, and there's the parameter name in there for road CO2. So let's just write that and replace, and that's essentially done that. So now we can just plot by going execute. That'll run through and hopefully plot those cross sections for us. Yeah, it says it's plotting, and it looks like that's finished. So let's go to my plot view here. Let's just take off the CO1 cross sections we had from before, and we should have a cross section plot CO2. Yeah, so there's our cross sections for road CO2. Yeah, you can see here, so now that's essentially plotted that model there. So if we just hit execute on that, you'll see they'll get deleted and recreated when the road changes. Yeah, so that's essentially it for the parameters. Yeah, so it's quite straightforward if you know the process. So the parameter value file, and also putting the parameters under the relevant command there for plotting. So now let's just run through that same exercise again for road CO3, just to show you how we can do that, just to reinforce the process there. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to copy that one there and paste, and this one I'm going to do is for road CO3. So we come down, put CO3 in there, and then what we'll do, we're going to put obviously road CO3 in the 2 parameters here instead of CO2. So to do that, I'll just hit save on that. We're coming up to our parameter value file, and we want to open that parameter file. And now we've got the 2 there that we had previously for CO2, and now we want to create 2 more for CO3. So we'll just come down here and just go to insert, and the first one we did, remember, was a model, and let's just copy that one there, just to cheat, save typing. So that's the name for CO3, that one is, and what model do we wish to plot. If we click on that, we'll get a list of model, and this is the cross sections for CO3, and let's put that in there. So that's fine for CO3 for the model, and now we need another one for the plot stem for the model name. So let's create another one, and this one, if you remember, was text, which is the same as this one. So I'm just going to copy that and paste that in there. So this is the model name for CO3, and the plot stem name, I'll just copy that same format there, be consistent, and let's call that CO3. Yep, so now I've got 2 parameters for CO3, and that's all I need there. Write and replace and finish that. So now we come over here to our new one which we've just copied for CO3, come down to our parameters, and now we can just click in this area and just do a right mouse button, and we want to pick up the cross sections for CO3. That's that one, and this is the model name, and this is the model name CO3. Yep, and that's all we need to do there. Let's just write that and replace. And now if we plot this cross section here, if we execute on that one, that'll go away and plot some cross sections for us down here, plotting. Yep, so that's done. So let's take off CO2, and let's add, now we've got a new one here for CO3, and they're the cross sections for CO3. Yeah, so that's, like I said, that's fairly straightforward if you know the process. Obviously there's a few things we need to set up for the parameter values, and once we have those, we can pass those into the relevant command for that. And like I said, that's for CO2 and that's for CO3. Yeah, so that's essentially passing parameters into those values. Yeah, look, thanks for watching. I hope this was useful, and you can start to use this on your projects just to save you time, and just to, rather than having multiple plot parameter files, and it just saves you time, especially if you have to change something in them and you've got 10 or 15 of them on a bigger job. It will take time to do that change on each individual plot parameter file. At least now we've got one, and we're using that one multiple times. So yeah, again, hopefully it was useful, and bye for now.